I have scaled multiple companies to 6 figures and 2 companies to 7 figures in the last 12 months. And in this video, I will be walking you through specifically my entire client acquisition funnel from A to Z, from top to bottom. This is by far the most valuable video that I have ever recorded because it walks through specifically how I make my money, how I scale companies, and just the ins and outs of that. I dive into a lot of detail on top of funnel marketing, how to do framing sequences, how to actually make sure all of that is systemized and you have a lean, scalable, and profitable model standing behind your business. And this is specifically how you can make at least 1 million this year in 2025 and finally change everything around financially for you. So make sure to watch through the entire video. Let's go. Client acquisition is one of the biggest problems most agencies, coaches, consultants, and course creators are facing. And that is because they actually aren't able to differentiate themselves. In this video, I will personally walk you through my own entire acquisition process from top to bottom. Now, as a warning, do not just copy and paste this. Take inspiration from it and give it your own unique touch. So fundamentally speaking, the only thing that you have to do to be able to charge high ticket prices, sell at high rates, and get lots of qualified leads is you have to stand out from your competition, which means that you have to create a gap or mold between you and your competition that is as big as humanly possible. And in this video, we're going to make sure you can do exactly that for your business. Here's exactly what we're going to run through. We're going to run through top of funnel marketing, application best practices, landing page, framing sequences, sales calls, as well as how to structure the onboarding. Top of funnel marketing. Marketing is actually one of the easiest things to get wrong. And that is because it's very nuanced, right? Because you need to have the know-how for messaging, congruency, multi-platform, having one ICP, heroes and villains, client result structure, as well as expectations. Now, for your messaging, you need to make sure that your messaging is actually tailored towards your specific ICP, your ideal client. And your ICP will always believe that a successful service provider, for example, a marketing agency owner, will communicate in a certain way, will talk in a certain way, say specific words, as well as show up in a certain way. So now you have to curate your perception exactly like they want to view you. A very good example in this is Tai Lopez. Tai Lopez actually doesn't have to wear glasses. He does it because he knows his specific ICP, the person that he targets, the person that is looking for an educated mentor to guide them on how to make more money, usually will be someone that is book smart. Most people think, and that's just the subconscious perception people have, is that book smart people usually wear glasses. That's exactly why he wears glasses. It's something that he's done very, very intentionally. In addition to that, you can see Tai Lopez always having books in the background of his videos and any stories that he posts. There is a reason for that. He does that because, again, that's exactly how his ICP wants to see him. So that's what he shows to the market, and that's the perception that he curates. Also, if you've ever watched any of his videos, he talks in a very, very weird way. And that is done on purpose. So every single thing he is doing, he's actually doing intentionally. Why is that? Because his ICP thinks that a nerdy scientist would talk in a weird way. So that's the exact perception that he is curating with his content to be able to convert at high ticket prices and sell as many people as humanly possible. Your messaging also needs to tie into your target market's problems, goals, worldviews, common enemies, as well as beliefs. I will give you an example here. So for example, with agency owners, most agency owners don't really have many appointments, don't really get many sales, and that's a big struggle they have. In addition to that, they struggle with low quality leads. They struggle with having an H&R problem. They actually don't know where and how to hire high quality individuals, actual A players into their companies. They usually have one of two goals, which is either 10K per month or 100K per month. They think business is the way to go. And also they think that money is super important. Now truly ask yourself, why are you watching this video right now? That is because you are the specific exact person that I want to attract. That is because I know your dreams and desires. I know the problems you're facing. I know how to solve them because I've done it myself. And that's the exact reason as to why you trust me with your time. And that's the exact reason as to why I can deliver the value and the results that you're looking for. And this is why you watch this video, because I know who you are. And that's exactly what it takes to make sure that your marketing material as well as sales processes convert at high rates. What you have to have in place as well is congruency. It is imperative that you have complete congruency throughout your entire funnel. Because if you don't, it will confuse prospects, lower click-through rates, lower booking rates, lower close rates, it will lower the average cash collected, it will decrease client results, and it will damage client relationships. So from your content or podcasts, for example, to your application to actually join your offer, to the actual application calls, to the actual product itself, you have to have complete congruency top to bottom, because otherwise, again, it will damage your entire business. Now, multi-platform. Always focus on the place where most of your ideal clients reside. Nonetheless, it is close to impossible to monitor the entire sales process with every single lead that you sign on, because they might see your Facebook afterwards, they might watch a YouTube video, from there 2 weeks later they see a retargeting ad, and then follow on Instagram for 2 months, and then they message you. You see how when that happens, you will directly attribute the sale to a DM close, although it's not really a DM close. But the problem is your prospects also won't really know where they originated from. So in reality, it is actually a lot more complex than that. And the solution to that is literally just be in more places, more times with higher quality content. So you can, for example, go on podcasts, post content that is short form content, post long form content on YouTube, have an Instagram and post regularly there, have stories in place, have an email list, make sure that you, for example, have a Twitter setup, make sure you have a LinkedIn, etc., etc. Be in all places as much as possible with content that is as high quality as humanly possible. Next point, one ICP. As discussed prior, you need to tailor your messaging to fit one single ICP. And that can only be done well if you focus on actually having one specific client. And that's because otherwise your focus is literally too scattered, and crafting compelling copy, marketing sequences, or sales processes will be close to impossible. Now, the next strategy that we're going to dive into is the heroes and villains strategy. And this one is specifically powerful. This is a strategy that is often used by great marketers. They will tell you a story about either a hero or a villain. And in that story, they will give the hero of the story characteristics that they need their clients or prospects to actually have to convert. On the other hand, they will make the villain have opposite traits to what they want their audience to actually have. Now, both ways, they make it more likely that the audience will actually follow up on changing their beliefs. Keep in mind that sales is all about changing your prospects' beliefs. When you can effectively make them believe what you believe, they will inevitably sign. And that brings us to the client result structure that you need to have. This one is incredibly important. Most don't even think about this in the first place, by the way, but to make someone buy your service, you obviously have to make them trust you. And to make them trust you, very obviously, you have to have proof to back up what you're saying. Now, there is a certain spectrum of how client results are actually produced, and on which end of that spectrum those are is extremely relevant for conversion rates and the effectiveness of it. So for example, you could have a short review that has surface level information, but something that's a lot better is having an in-person interview with an amazing background. You have amazing camera quality, amazing audio quality. Both people are dressed well and hold an amazing frame. The client actually talks about the things they want to talk about themselves without the interviewer, or in this case, the service provider, asking loaded questions, and they show their bank account in the camera. Now, do you see how that is so much more effective and converts so much more people than having a testimonial that someone records saying, hey, yeah, this guy really knows his stuff and you should sign with him? There is a big difference between those two. So what end of the spectrum your client results are actually being produced on matters most. And that ties very well into expectations. Expectations are being set at any part of the whole funnel. Make sure to always under-promise and over-deliver, because that is the easiest way to grow off referrals. Keep in mind that expectations will always equal success. If you make your client 200K profit, but you set the expectation that you're actually going to make them 250K profit. Although 200K profit is an amazing result, well, the client is not necessarily going to be happy because, again, you promised to bring 250K profit. Always under promise and over deliver with any clients that you have. Point number 2, this is a very, very important one. Application best practices. You should always use Typeform and Calendly integrated with one another. Why is that? Very simple. When you use Typeform and Calendly, they will go through the Typeform questions, and then when the end of that form is reached, they will instantly see the Calendly. It's like the next question. It's like the next step. The problem is if you use any other softwares outside of that, like for example, Jotform, what will happen is people go through the questions step by step by step by step. But what ends up happening is after the form is finished, they get redirected to another site because it doesn't seamlessly integrate. And for the prospect, in their mind, subconsciously, they think, okay, I'm done. I just finished my application. And that's the worst thing that can happen. Statistically speaking, 50% of prospects drop off that way. So make sure to use Typeform as well as Calendly integrated with one another. Not to say that you actually will have less KPIs to track and there won't be a drop-off between qualification and scheduling page. Now, keep in mind that any question you ask should always serve at least one of these two goals. That is either providing ammo for your sales team as well as marketing automation, and or having an important qualification question there that actually leads to different routing based on the answer. I usually recommend having about 2 to 3 qualification questions on Typeform. The first question is critical for having ammo and also for the right routing. You should never, ever, ever make this contact details. So do not ask about name, email, or phone number first. You're literally asking about the thing that people are most scared to give away at the start. Never do that. In addition to that, you should never, ever, ever have the financial qualifier asking about how much money they make, etc., as the first question. The second question, though, should ideally be the financial qualifier instantly. Point number 3, landing page. Your landing page has to be optimized for conversions, not for looking good. Okay? So you want to keep it simple. You want to rather remove things than add more. And you want to only add things for an exact reason. The VSL and how well it converts, in addition to that, is crucial. So make sure that you actually nail this one. Use Wistia to monitor watch time, as well as when and where how many people drop off. So that way you can counter that. Now, as for the landing page structure, this is the specific structure that I recommend you having. You want to have scarcity at the top of the funnel, just a small line right there. After that, headline number 1 will always be the claim, as you know. Below that, headline number 2 must be objection handling. So for example, you would say you can achieve X goal without cold calling 1,000 people a day, getting crappy leads off Apollo.io, etc., etc. Then you have the VSL. Below the VSL, you will have the call to action. Then you have screening and calendar. Again, use Typeform integrated with Calendly here. And then you have stories and social proof mixed with call to actions. From here, you need to optimize the landing page continuously. Use A/B tests for this. Point number 4, framing sequences. Framing is crucial, right? And there is actually few people that have mastered this one, because in between the booked call and the call actually taking place, there is a certain sequence of strategies that you have to be following. To make someone convert, you need to make them believe what you believe. And to change someone's beliefs, you have to use framing material. Now, here are a couple of action steps that you can follow right now after watching this video. Watch back all your sales calls and then ask yourself, what are the top 10 to 20 objections that I get every single time? Okay, then write them down on a Google Sheet and right next to them, write down a perfect counter and then use that in your framing material. You want to get clear on where specifically you will include the material that reframes the faulty beliefs that are holding your prospects back. There is a lot that goes into this, okay, because there's a lot of different sequences that you have to follow. But my rule of thumb for this is just ask yourself, if I had to make people buy my offer on a website button, what would I do? Then you do all of that plus the sales call. Now, why do you actually want to do that? Well, that's because marketing is consistent. It's predictable. When you have software and automation in place, it's something that's always going to be consistent if you just make sure that that system runs properly. On the other hand, sales is human resources. And humans, as you know, aren't robots. They will always be inconsistent and struggle to actually uphold a certain predictability. So automate and systemize everything you can. And then the rest that you cannot automate and systemize, that is something that you want to have handled by a team member or yourself. Point number 5, the actual sales call. If the framing part was done correctly, this one will be light work. Your prospect should at this point trust you, have the right beliefs, they should be bought into your solution, and ideally they should even know the price. Now it's literally just about coming together on an agreement that suits both parties. The most important thing that you have to have on any sales call is confidence. If you have confidence in your product, what will happen is that when prospects are actually qualified, you will make sure that they make the best decision for themselves. So hold the frame and do not let someone else take over the call. Now, point number 6, onboarding. The first 2 to 3 hours after the sale happened are by far the most important ones. And this is where you actually set the tone for the entire relationship. So if possible, you want to onboard them right there and then. Uphold a positive mental attitude. Why is that? Because of the placebo effect. No matter how good your service is and no matter how good your product is, if you cannot uphold a positive mental attitude, that will damage the actual results that your clients are getting, because the placebo effect is real. If you can have an amazing solution, and in addition to that, make sure that you have a placebo effect in place, because you actually have an amazing positive mental attitude when communicating with your client on the onboarding, they will get massive results. Now, besides that, you want to set the right expectations. Again, keep in mind, expectations equals success. And then from there, you want to onboard them on all relevant material, and you want to go over the timeline and results. From there, you kick it off and you make sure your clients get absolutely amazing results. I focus a lot on my product, building it out, getting feedback from clients, improving it and making it better. And that has been one of the best decisions that I have made in my business so far, because clients as well as partners see amazing results from this. So that was it for the video. I hope you found incredible value in this video. As I said, I really put a lot of effort into this, and this was specifically how I structure my entire client acquisition process from top to bottom. If you have any questions, please make sure to put them in the comments or reach out to me on Instagram at EliasMüllerSP. You can find that link down in the description as well. Besides that, if you did find it of value, I would appreciate a like as well as a follow a lot, because I will be putting out a lot more in-depth value videos specifically like this in the future. Besides that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.